Welcome to the Economy Magazine. I'm Benjamin Chong Alfares, and today we focus on what lies ahead for Greece following the victory of anti-austerity party Syriza. Alexis Tsipras, Syriza's leader, pledged to end years of austerity, but Greece still needs billions of euros from the EU and the IMF to avoid defaulting on public debt. And as Syriza is short of a majority, it will have to compromise somewhat on its vision to establish a coalition which may actually work in favor of Greece's commitments to the eurozone. We're joined in the studio by the advocate Gilar Liber Golan, chairman of the Israel-Greece Chamber of Commerce, and by Sabi Mayonis, Greek-Israeli businessman. We're going to start with a video report. Syriza's rise to power echoes the voice of millions of Europeans who are tired of years of austerity. But as the masses breathe a sigh of relief, the future will tell if anti-austerity will succeed where Europe's conservatives failed.
The Greek people gave a clean, strong and undeniable mandate. Greece is turning the page.
Greece rejected the harsh economics of austerity on Sunday and sent a warning to the rest of Europe as the left-wing Syriza party won a decisive victory in national elections, positioning its tough-talking leader, Alexis Tsipras, to become the next prime minister. Syriza has 33% of the votes, almost 9 points more than the governing center-right New Democracy Party of Prime Minister Antonis Samaras, who conceded defeat.
I have my conscience clear because I told the truth to the Greek people until the end. I sincerely hope my predictions don't come true. Because it is Greece we are talking about, but I had to warn.
Appearing before a throng of supporters outside Athens University late Sunday, Mr. Tsipras declared that the era of austerity was over and promised to revive the economy. He also said his government would not allow Greece's creditors to strangle the country.
Our victory is simultaneously a victory for all the people of Europe who fight against austerity, which destroys our common European future.
Syriza's victory is a milestone for Europe. Continuing economic weakness has stirred a populist backlash from France to Spain to Italy, with more voters growing fed up with policies that require sacrifice to meet the demand of creditors, but that have not delivered more jobs and prosperity.
In Greece, tonight we will hear tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. We want to hear it in Spain soon, too.
Syriza is poised to become the first anti-austerity party to take power in the eurozone country and to shatter the two-party establishment that has dominated Greek politics for 4 decades.
In the last year, Greece was chosen to be the guinea pig of austerity in order to exit the crisis. This was proven to be a failure and catastrophic.
Mr. Mianis, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Will Tsipras be able to push his agenda, his vision, considering his coalition party?
It's not going to be easy for him. The Europeans, expect Greece's government to comply by the agreements that the previous government has made. That's how states operate. There has to be continuity, and the Europeans expect continuity. I think it's going to be very difficult for Mr. Tsipras not to compromise in many of the things that he has promised to the Greek people.
But specifically to his coalition partner, is that going to affect also the way in which he can push through his agenda?
His coalition partner thinks like Tsipras does on the issue of being anti-austerity and how to deal with the European Union and the people who have lent Greece, hundreds of billions of euros. So I don't think that ideologically they differ so much when it comes to the anti-austerity measures. They have other ideological differences that are less have to deal with the economy, and they have to deal more with how the state and the church will treat each other on the immigrant issue and things like that. This is a more, self-declared patriotic party, let's say. But when it comes to anti-austerity, I think he and Tsipras have a lot in common.
Mr. Lieber-Golan, what is your perspective on the situation with Tsipras coming in?
First of all, I see the situation in Greece, as I've mentioned before, is an earthquake, but a very good earthquake, because once the Greek people has really, really went down to the end of the hole in their relation, they could not bear anymore all these vicious austerities.
I see.
And the Greek people are usually they are conservative. Yes, but they really fed up because they could really not live. Average person can earn about 600 euro per month. There is 50% of unemployment, 50% of youth out of 25% of unemployment. What I think as Mr. Tsipras really led a vision, a renewed vision for the people that they cannot live like this and being humiliate. The difference between the situation now and before, the two governments before, is the governments before didn't have the support of the nation.
I see.
And at this point, Mr. Tsipras and his coalition, the independent Greeks that now give them 163 people out of 300. I think he's coming with a new vision. I don't think, as Mr. Miyagi says, he cannot throw anything. But as an economist from Eurobank said, many changes, a lower of interest can be done.
Right.
He also says, in a way, that he doesn't want to negotiate with the IMF, and he wants to negotiate with other people.
On that topic, let's now change actually our focus to the eurozone, because we can look at Greece and what will happen within Greece between the different coalition partners, but specifically, ultimately, what we have to look at is how Greece fits into the eurozone and how the elections will affect Greece's economy, considering that they are bound by, as you said yourself, Mr. Mionis, specific agreements that they have with the Eurozone. Where is the money going to come from? I mean, Syriza said it wanted to replace the bailout plan, establish a new agreement, refers free market reforms. I mean, where will the money come from?
If any money comes from somewhere, that has to be Europe.
Okay.
It cannot be from anywhere else. Obviously there might be some increased taxation on groups of people that maybe they have not paid their fair share in the past in Greece. But we're talking about hundreds of billions of euros of debt here. And this kind of money can only come from the Europeans. So this is why I believe that some kind of a compromise will have to be found between the new government and the Europeans. At the same time, I don't think the Europeans want to give up too much breathing room to Mr. Tsipras, because there are other left-wing parties in Europe that will be demanding the same. And this, I think, could be quite problematic for the European Union as a whole.
Would we see a new deal between Greece and the Troika?
Listen, anything is possible. Some kind of a new deal we will see. How much this is going to be close to what Mr. Tsipras is expecting, that's a different story. But I believe that some kind of a compromise will have to be found, and maybe the Europeans or the Troika will have to give up a little bit to the new government.
Would you say that a Grexit, as they call it, a Greek exit from the EU, is likely or possible even?
Listen, I certainly hope not. I still have family and friends in Greece, and I feel for them, and I hope this is not going to be the case. But I think that if a very aggressive stance is adopted by the new Greek government, even now that they are elected, because during campaign, a lot of things can be said, but then you actually, take the government in your hands, realpolitik settles in, and you see things differently. If they adopt a very, very aggressive stance against the Europeans, anything is possible, but I don't think this will happen.
I see. Well, let's move on to talk actually about Tsipras as a man himself, considering the man behind Syriza, who was behind, so to speak, this whole revolution that we've seen. Tsipras himself is undoubtedly the hero in the triumph of, so to speak, left-wing politics in Greece and specifically just in Europe as a whole. He's promised, to change Greece, to change the austerity, to make life easier for the Greek people. Can he make true on his promises?
Well, at this moment, we don't know. What we know, and I think also the EU countries understand that something very essential has happened. Now 19 ministers are now gathering, to talk. They cannot ignore and say, no, we cannot negotiate. I could say as a lawyer, and I work in Greece for so many years and so forth, there is a new situation. You can come to a person, let's say if we minor the situation, and say, I owe you X. Listen, can we change the terms? The terms, well, I don't deny my debt to you, but maybe we can change the terms, not that the burden of the everyday person will carry out. And this, I think, is the flag and the power. And Mr. Tsipras has a very, very good people in his party that can go on. And I see in minor words from people that they respect him.
Right. Well, let's see a report actually that we created on Tsipras, Mr. Tsipras.
To his supporters, he's the charismatic leader who swept Greece by storm. To his opponents, he's a radical lightweight whose victory spells danger for the country. At 40 years old, Alexis Tsipras has become the youngest leader in the Greek nation's history. The former Communist Party youth activist seems determined to jolt not only his own country, but also Europe. And he has the right background. Tsipras has flourished on the back of crisis, his anti-austerity rhetoric launching his Syriza party to political stardom.
Greece is turning a page. Greece is leaving behind catastrophic austerity. It is leaving behind the fear and the autocracy. It is leaving behind 5 years of humiliation and pain.
But his landslide victory was far from predictable. Born 4 days after the collapse of military rule in 1974, Tsipras experienced the ills that still mar Greek society to this day. Studying civil engineering, he ventured into politics partly out of frustration with a society that seemed rotten.
We have before us a huge opportunity for a new beginning between Greece and Europe, for a new policy, for a new relationship based on trust, respect, solidarity, and responsibility.
But not everyone is a fan. The Greek Socialist Party said the Syriza leader was like Harry Potter, making promises he could not possibly keep. His lack of experience, though, seems to be in his advantage. The Greek voters were drawn by the newcomer, whose so-called unrealistic promises offered a degree of hope to an economy steadily plunging into crisis. And as a self-proclaimed atheist in a Greek Orthodox-dominated society, it seems Tsipras may still have a few more surprises up his sleeve.
Mr. Mionis, obviously, Mr. Tsipras is a new face on the European scene, relatively unpredictable. How do you think that his position now as the Greek leader will affect also Greco-Israeli relations?
Well, it is a new reality, that's for sure. Traditionally, the Greek left has been quite anti-Israel, very pro-Palestinian. You saw in your segment in the beginning of the show, Mr. Tsipras wearing a keffiyeh. That was in a demonstration this past summer outside the Israeli embassy in Athens. He has never been to Israel. There are a lot of members of his party were in the flotilla in 2010 when they were taken under custody by the IDF. So they do have a grudge against Israel. And their position is no different than the other European left-wing parties. They don't necessarily understand the reality we live in here in Israel. They have their own ideas, and we'll have to work very hard as Israel to educate them about what the reality is.
So considering that there was a warming up of relations between Greece and Israel over the past couple of years, we're going to be seeing a cold period, an ice age?
I think we're going to be seeing a very challenging period, quite different than the past two prime ministers. Even though, even with the previous prime minister, we did have certain issues, not in terms of the Greek-Israeli relationship, but in terms of including his party extremists.
Okay, well, Mr. Sabi Mionis, thank you very much for joining us. Ms. Gila Lieber-Golan, thanks for joining us as well. That is the end of our Economy Magazine for today. I'm Benjamin Chong Alfares. Thanks for joining us. Please join us again tomorrow.